What's up, guys? One last response to game reviews. I have some notes down. He said I didn't exactly respond to his video, so I figured I'd watch it again and respond to some of the things he said. He basically talks about there are people, that that were gamers on the older consoles, the older Nintendo consoles like the 64. And the the NES or whatever, and now they don't want to play any other games. They choose to only play like shooters and stuff like that. And let's just see what else. So I know I don't usually write notes. You know me, I don't like writing notes. It comes from what I think. But I figured I wanted to have a fair and honest response. And, he also talks about the fact that they're missing out on a lot of great games. They're unaware, they complain, also was talking about the fact that the media complains about a lack of platform or puzzle games, yet they don't talk about games like this. This is a game Wario Shake It, he said on the Wii, and all these games and platformers that are good, and a lot of people they only know about the first party games, and they only play the big games, and and a lot of times they miss out on great experiences because they don't play the games that are overshadowed. A lot of times what he's trying to say is that there are some games that get overshadowed by more of the popular titles. For instance, you're gonna, most people are gonna say, I'm gonna get Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. I'm gonna get Donkey Kong Country Returns. I'm gonna get the Skyward Sword. Yes, those games are good, but I would agree with him. I think that's a good point. I think that, if these games are good games, I'm going to definitely check them out. And game reviews, if you can, give me a list of games that you think that people are missing. Maybe I'll check them out. I'll definitely play them, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, the reason why these games get overlooked is because there's so many other games that come out around the same time. Like, for instance, a perfect example is on the PlayStation, on the 360 and the PlayStation and the PC. Games like Dead Island. That barely was talked about. Barely talked about. Darksiders, which is a surprising title to me. Zelda-like puzzles and God of War-like combat. Shadows of the Dam's another title that no one talks about and no one plays, and they choose to ignore it, yet they're missing out on great experiences. And to your credit, I watched your video again, you're right. You said the people that choose to ignore it because they don't want to play them, okay. I guess just the way I feel is that some people are aware of these games, and I'm aware of some of these games. It's just I have different style of games I like to play. I like to play RPGs. I like to play first-person shooters and action-adventure games. That's my style of games. But people who choose to ignore some of these great games on these, to change a little bit of what they play. I agree. I would, I'm considering to get Portal 2. And some of these other RPGs, I'm definitely. But you make a lot of decent points in that video. I think there's people that choose to ignore those games are just missing out. And please, I'd like you to respond to one. I want you to respond to one other point that I made about there's this guy, the Mark 102. I think that's his. If I'm mistaken, I apologize. But there's this guy, the Mark 102, has a picture of the 7th level. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a very popular YouTube guy. He's a lot of subscribers, about 6,000-7,000 subscribers. Pretty popular YouTuber. And he has a picture of him in the background of the World Trade Centers being knocked down from 9/11. He's using gaming to attack people like that. And the reason why I'm responding to you the way I am, I just want to make an example because I think the YouTube community is just retarded. With the arguments, people take things so seriously and they spit vitriol wherever they get to, where they get the chance. And I think that I'm trying to prove with my videos, like to your videos, that we could actually be good friends on YouTube and be and have an honest disagreement on certain issues. Like, the way I feel about what you said is that some people, if they purposely ignore those games because they refuse to try different games, like, you're right, they are stupid because they're missing out on some great experiences. I remember when I first bought a console, I was only into straight-up action-adventure games, and I didn't want to play RPGs. I didn't want to play stealth games like Hitman or Assassin's Creed. I was very, very skeptical of Assassin's Creed 2 and 3, Revelations, I should say. And as soon as I got into them, I never looked back. I mean, people choose not to play them. These games that are uncommon, like you talk about on the Wii, I would agree. I mean, if you could give me a list of games that you think, I think I responded, to your video, and you also talked about the fact that the mainstream media, when it comes to the gaming mainstream media, they ignore these games, and to the detriment of the gaming community because people miss out on a lot of good games. A lot of good games that you say are on the Wii. They're not as popular as the first party popular Wii games. Like I said, GoldenEye Reloaded. It's not exclusive anymore, but it was at the time. Donkey Kong Country, Epic Mickey, all these other games that are really like more popular than most other games. Just give me a list of games you think that I should play, and I'll start buying these Wii games for sure. Like when there's some downtime, like right now, give me some games. I'm probably going to get Donkey Kong Country Returns next because I think that game's going to be a really good game. And I want to tell you, there's one game, I remember this. There's one game, I don't know if you ever tried it. It's a downloadable game. You have to try this game. It's one of the funnest platformers you'll ever play in your life. It's Outland. Please play Outland. Go on PSN right now and play it. I also want to thank you for being very honest with, with being honest with Wii Lover and and Nintendo, because they just really tick me off sometimes. And I didn't see those videos because, to be honest with you, I haven't watched your videos until now because the Loose Goose actually mentioned you. I knew you heard of him. The Loose Goose mentioned you in one of his videos, so I figured I'd check you out. And you know what? Yeah, you prefer Sony, but you're honest. And I think you're an honest person. And I think you have an honest opinion, and I think we can set an example of people with difference of opinions can get along. And I think that please, if you could respond with whether it be through a comment or a video, tell me what you think. The Mark 102, I think that's his channel, and he also had this Pyro 2000X, him as the plane going into the World Trade Center in 9/11, because he disagreed with him with video games. And I just think and if you have a disagreement, disagree with him on the merits. And there's also another issue. There's this other guy, Fat Gamer, who flagged him, and he basically Pyro claimed he owned him or whatever, and he flagged him, and he could lose his channel for the second time. He has the Pyro Show, now it's his new channel, and these kind of things, it's just, I think that the reason why I'm responding to the way I am is to make a point to YouTube and make an example that just because you have difference of opinion doesn't mean you have to spit vitriol. You get along, and I really think, you're a decent guy. I think you're a decent guy. You have honest opinions, and, I just want to see if, I want to set an example on YouTube that people, you could have some difference of opinions, but you can get along at the same time. I hope that was good enough response. If not, then I'm sorry. But for the most part, I agree with what you said, if that's what you want to know. I think you're right. I think people have to give me a list of Wii games you think that I should play, and I will play them. I will. I have tried to as much as I can. I'm open-minded. If there's a good game, I don't care what console it's on. I'm not going to be allegiance to Sony just because I prefer Sony over all the other consoles. And I'll be honest. And when you said, well, there's one thing actually I do disagree with, then Sony does not provide a variety of games. They do. Maybe you're not aware of some of the games like Heavy Rain, Ratchet and Clank, what's it called? Ooh, I forgot what it's called. Oh, come on. It's a game coming out. It's a very popular game. I forgot. It's like a thief or something like that. Another platform. I forgot what it's called. I'm embarrassed to say I don't know what it is. You got your God of War. You got your JRPGs like Disgaea 4. There are tons. Go to the PlayStation library. There are tons. They have every genre on there. Shooters, platformers, everything. They have tons of great games. And there are games that on the PlayStation 3, like White Knight Chronicles. When do they ever talk about White Knight Chronicles 1 and 2? When do they talk about Disgaea 4? This is other game I can't pronounce it. Winchiku or something like that? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but if I am, I'm sorry. But there are a lot of games that are on the PlayStation. Also, Shadow of the Colossus Collection. You should get that Ico and Shadow of the Colossus Collection. 2 great games. There are a lot of games on the PlayStation that people don't talk about, but they're great games. And it's the same way with the PlayStation. Check them out. The games that I just mentioned. Give me a list of Wii games that you think that I should play. I want to know, because then I would get them. I have a Wii now. I'll be honest, I haven't owned a Wii, but now I own a Wii. I think I'm babbling on too much, but give me a list of games you think that are good. Anyways, game reviews, I hope this is a good enough response. If not, I'm sorry. But for the most part, if it makes you happy, for the most part, I do agree with what you said. But I think it's the same thing on the PlayStation. that there people aren't aware of certain games on the PlayStation that are really good, and they should play them. All right, I'm sorry. Game reviews. Take care, my friend. Have a good day too. All right.